Hello, this is General Beauregard. Hello. Gentle hello once again, friends. I wasn't going to get into my expert analysis of college football until it got warmed up a bit. I kind of wanted to see how the major players were going to shape up. You see, that may sound a bit lazy, and well, it sort of is, but I noticed how all the big mouth of the networks and the famous loudmouths and so forth tried to essentially stack the pecking order based on tiny tidbits of data. Just little things like I fully realized that by game 3 or 4, Georgia would probably have an impressive highlight reel on offense, and maybe the defense would have an off game somewhere. I realized that Alabama was playing Miami, and thusly nothing of note could be discerned in that fancified practice. Most likely, the Alabama number 2 gave the Bama number 1s much more competition. I realized that UCLA would already shoot itself in the foot by week 3 or at least somewhere. And I realized Ohio State was pretty much what they always are, basically a good football team that can really hurt a lesser opponent, despite perhaps being a bit vulnerable on the defense. And I realized that the ACC is actually much better than usual top to bottom, and that would result in some competition for even Clemson. I also realized that human nature being what it is, complacency would set in at Clemson, and it absolutely has. I also realized that many teams would not resemble their former selves on account of the rapid changes in the game. Keeping a roster intact is more difficult than ever these days. Ironically, it's not as hard, it's less difficult for those low on the pecking order. For example, a team like Cincinnati is much more likely to carry over experienced talent than, say, even an Alabama or Clemson. We're just talking on the top to bottom kind of scale there. This isn't a small concern. And for that reason, I believe this is a major opportunity for teams like Cincinnati and others to make inroads on the football landscape. I also realize that the major mouthpieces in the sports media are addicted like crack cocaine to the short term. They're constantly trying to stand out by making ridiculous claims based on shallow facts. Interestingly, no one seems to remember what ESPN said a month ago, let alone 20 minutes ago. So General Beauregard has stood quietly, watching like a seasoned warrior. I wait for the precise time to act. Let the big mouths find and flap their gums and find their way, while the general is already miles ahead. I've been watching this game a long time, boys and girls. And so without further ado, I shall present my primary purpose of this meeting. First of all, let's take a moment to really savor this season. Whether your team's rolling or sliding, because there won't be many more with the current setup. The conferences are expanding, playoffs are expanding, and the players are finally getting an opportunity to cash in financially as an amateur athlete and so forth. Now, there's a fundamental change in society in general that may impact our beloved sport. So this season should be doubly savored, for the big changes are certainly ahead. After the dust settles in a few years, the perpetual rhythm of college football will find a balance, and this will become a new normal. College football, like the NFL, is a television, media-driven sport. But ultimately, somebody has to play some football. I said earlier in the summer that defense would return to college football. A lot of people I've spoken with echo a similar refrain. in that they find that 51 to 48 football games, quite frankly, are boring. It's a strange fact, but it's true. How many times have you watched a highlight video for 3 hours straight? If you answered yes, well, you may be excused. The General does not freely dispense his pearls of wisdom among swine. Yes, defense seems to have returned, and I'm not saying that because my Georgia Bulldogs put on a clinic against Clemson. Defense returns because it's common sense. Any football coach will tell you have to get the opponent off the field without points more frequently than less. And as difficult as it is to set up a thriving, high-powered offense, it is doubly difficult to create a lockdown defense. But for the record, the benefits are priceless. Think about this fact. If a coach that can find that 5-star mobile quarterback with a precise cannon of an arm and is more slippery than a greased pig, and he also can't find 4 freaks of nature that can win every 50-50 ball, or a tight end that can block and catch a ball with 3 linebackers hanging on them like a bunch of barnacles, failing to attain those elements, the smart coach decides to invest in genuine defense. There is no offense that cannot be disrupted with the right tools. A lot of teams have already turned their attention to defense, and the tug-of-war continues. But absolutely, you will see more defense in the future. Now where is LSU, the team that patented the unstoppable offense, today? Where are they today? Well, we know where they are. You've watched the highlights, and it ain't a pretty picture for sure. I'm not going to waste your time reacting or predicting what 18 to 20-year-old men will do 2 months from now. But based on week 1, it seems absolutely certain that there's only one way to find out, and that's to play the games. Thank you kindly, and spread some random kindness everywhere you go. This is General Beauregard. That's all, folks.